welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, we're back for a second round at what are we talking about here? Weekly Roundup. Yes, Celebrity Edition. Like I shared earlier, I had some videos and stories actually I wanted to go over and share with you guys. And hope that you are ready for that. I definitely wanted to pop on a couple days ago, but I shared early in the video that I dropped about an hour or two ago, that we had ran out of AC. So yeah, but we're back in full effect now. But if you haven't gotten a chance to check out that video that just dropped, like I said, about a couple hours ago, it's the weekly roundup that includes J Hud, actress Trina McGee, and rapper Misdemeanor Elliott. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. It was great, feel good stories, and I just wanted to share, just some thoughts around those stories, and I wanted to get your thoughts too. So yeah, we are now back for a second round. Again, this is a celebrity edition. And I'm really excited about going and talking about all of the wonderful things that people are doing. Now, this one is not going to be maybe as feel good as the other one was, but that's okay because, right, there's always room and time for all different types of stories. But yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and dive right on into it. So let's go with the first story. And we are talking about Madonna. Yeah, I have not seen much of Madonna in the news in quite some time. Matter of fact, I think the last time I heard of anything from Madonna happened to deal with, I think she was going through another bout of plastic surgery. So I think all of that is good to go. And she, I believe, is currently touring right now as well. And I guess all is good. I know some people were really concerned about how far the lengths that she was going doing that. But Madonna, if one thing about her, she's going to do what she want to do. So she's always been that kind of an artist. I'm sure that kind of a person. So yeah, it seems like all is good. And she's back on the tour strip again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she sells out concerts. So that's, again, wonderful and part of what I consider, this Renaissance hit. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Madonna's been pretty much touring consistently for quite some time. So, I haven't been to a Madonna show myself. If you have, go ahead and drop that down in the comment section and let me know how it was. Because, maybe, I don't know, who knows? One day, maybe I might get a chance to see her in person. We'll see. Madonna always seems like she's a good time. So, and there always seems to be a lot of fun surrounding her tour. So, yeah. And there's always some stories that pop up about it. But yeah, but definitely, if I didn't get a chance to say, hey, other than just welcome back, I think I did say that. Look, I've been with you already today, right? So, this is home. We're just, we're just chilling at home. So we don't need to worry about all the preliminaries a second time around, right? But if you are new here, welcome to the channel. And yeah, I like going over recaps, reviews, and worthy news. And this is one of those sets of news that I wanted to kind of share with you. Now, this one is not just so much about the tour itself for Madonna. This is about some issues that came about with the tour. So let's go ahead and get into it. According to People, Madonna's concert delay lawsuit was dismissed by plaintiffs with no settlement. Now, I didn't even know she was going through a lawsuit, but apparently she was, and has something to do with her concert. And I guess the times, maybe the time in itself, how it was supposed to get started, or maybe, I don't know, when the dates were. Not sure, but we're going to go ahead and dive into and find out what is going on. So on June 19th, the two plaintiffs, Michael Fellows and Jason Alvarez, had filed a voluntary dismissal with prejudice. Interesting. Now, I think with prejudice means that you can come back at a later date, if I'm not mistaken, and without prejudice is when you can. But if I got any legal scholars, out here in the chat, go ahead and drop that in the comment section. Tell me if I'm right on that. And if not, tell me what way it is. But I think that's what that means. So let's move on. The lawsuit against Madonna pertaining to the late start time of her Celebration World Tour has been dismissed without a settlement. So I guess that would be a good thing. She can move forward, because I didn't even know this was happening. Again, we're skipping people here. Let's get back into it. All right. So the lawsuit against Madonna, according to court documents, obtained by People on Wednesday, June 19th, the lawsuit, which was filed by plaintiffs Michael Fellows and Jason Alvarez against the singer sent a notice of a voluntary dismissal with prejudice. The Grammy winner 65 was sued on January 17th over a delayed start time during the December 13th show of her Celebration World Tour in Brooklyn. The plaintiffs accused her of false advertising and filed the suit. Due to their recent dismissal with prejudice, Fellows and Alvarez cannot refile their claims. So there's that. If it's with prejudice, they cannot file. If it's without prejudice, they could if something comes on later down the line. So there we go. The singer and Live Nation's attorney, Jeff Warshawski, hope I'm saying that correct, wrote a letter on June 19th noting that the dismissal was not the result of any settlement between the parties. The letter stated that Madonna and Live Nation do not agree with plaintiff's position that each party should bear its own fees and costs. Defendants believe that this action was a frivolous strike suit designed to force them to incur legal expenses. Read Washkowski's letter. Plaintiffs have now abandoned this lawsuit when it became clear that this approach would not result in a settlement payment and that they would need to oppose defendants' motion to dismiss the amended complaint. Additionally, Warshawski, I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm messing with it, noted that the defendants reserve the right to move for sanctions, attorney fees, and costs due to the plaintiff's false notice of settlement that the court struck on June 10th. The plaintiffs claimed that the pop star's concert, December 13th concert, started at 10:30 p.m., despite the tickets advertising that it would start at 8:30 p.m. The two fans accused the delay of being a wanton exercise in false advertising. Well, this is rich. Negligent misrepresentation and unfair and deceptive trade practices. The original filing stated that the two fans would not have paid for tickets had they known about the start time. The filing also noted that the plaintiffs argued that concert attendees were confronted with limited public transportation, limited ride sharing, and/or increased public and private transportation costs at the late hour when they left the venue after 1 a.m. On May 30th, another fan, Justin Lipples, filed a lawsuit against the hung-up singer. He alleges the singer and Live Nation lulled concert-goers into buying expensive tickets to her February and March shows that purposely and deceptively withheld information in its marketing. Lipples claims Madonna and Live Nation failed to inform ticket purchasers that the singer's California shows would not start on time, as promised, but rather started at 10 p.m. The filing also accuses the pop star of maintaining a hot and uncomfortable temperature during her performances, as well as alleging that concertgoers were forced to watch topless women simulate sex acts on stage during Madonna's shows, subjecting them to pornography without warning. Okay. Wow, this got really, really serious and took a real serious turn, didn't it? Well, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. It looks like the first lawsuit is done for, but the second one is ongoing, I think it seems like, or it's being held. So I guess more to come. We'll see what happens with that. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been to a few concerts in my day. And for the most part, I guess they have started on time, but there have been a couple that have not. And I don't think I had any real expectation per se that if it's, even though it does say make the start time 7:30, that they will start at 7:30. I do feel like, there should be stuff going on, obviously, to please the crowd and, whether it's music, a DJ playing, all that good stuff, because I kind of feel like when you're going to one of these things, you're going for a good time. I think the issue for me personally, and this is just my opinion, and if you have a different opinion, please feel free to share it down below, or if you do agree with my opinion, share that below as well. I kind of feel like when you're going to an event like, a concert, it's should be a laid back feeling. I don't look at it as going to some kind of business meeting. I do understand that if you're there for a show and it starts 2 hours later, I think for me, what is happening in those 2 hours is what's going to really affect how I feel about that. So if you've got, I don't know, a variety show situation going on with DJs and other things going on, I kind of look at it personally as that I'm just getting more for my ticket, because as long as I'm having a good concert with good showing and she's given her all, or whoever it is that I'm going to go see is giving their all and giving me a good show, I'm probably not going to worry so much about it. I mean, yeah, may I complain about it? I don't know. I might. It just depends on how much fun I had in the preliminary time. I don't know. I could definitely see if you were sitting there and there was nothing going on and it's hot and, I get that. Or someone just doesn't show up, or, when they do get on there, they act like you're inconveniencing them, right? When you're actually paying good money to go and see them. So do I feel like it should be honored that you start at the time? I do, but I also think that there might be some wiggle room in that. Now, because the original first lawsuit was dismissed, we don't really know through that, through more discovery or anything like that. They say that she started 2 hours later, but we didn't get an opportunity to see what their side of the story was, right? Madonna's side. We don't know if they said no, that is the case or isn't the case, or here's why. We didn't get that. So yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting. I've never heard of anyone doing that before, but we're in a new age now, and one thing that seems to run rapid continuously though through ages is lawsuits. So I guess if you really feel that you were wronged, you can feel free to go through the legal system and do what you need to do. I do find it interesting that they had decided not to move forward with it. So at this point, it's a closed case, appears to be so, and I guess that's a good thing. Should you honor the time that is on that ticket? Absolutely. Sometimes things can happen. Now, there was a situation in a recent concert that I had heard for Miss Anita Baker, right? I love Anita Baker. Anita Baker is a legendary singer, entertainer. But I've also heard that she's been known to be a little late to some of her, allegedly, late to some of her concerts. And there was a particular situation that took place, I think it was in Atlanta, where I guess they had to cancel the tour or her show at the last minute. People were there and don't know what caused that. What was the issue? Don't know if she was going through a medical situation or what could cause a situation to happen where you would cancel, right at that time. And of course, I've got to say alleged, I wasn't there, so I didn't see it. And I haven't heard anyone do anything to the contrary beyond just what I heard on social media during that time. And, I kind of went from the space of that, well, maybe something had to happen, right? Because who's counseling something right at the last minute? And that's just my thoughts. That's where I went to. I didn't go directly to, oh my gosh, she's just this horrible person. Da 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 da. This woman has been doing this for years, right? She's been in the gift for years, and sometimes, I think a little bit of grace can be given. But again, I don't know what the issue was. I don't know what made that happen, and I didn't have to experience that. So I can understand if you're upset, but I guess for me, when I would see some clips of name calling and stuff like that in regards to her, or, I thought that was unnecessary. That was my thoughts. It's just like, where's that getting you? You're still not getting into the concert. So, but, again, I wasn't affected by it. And, would I have been upset? Probably. I'm sure I would have felt some kind of way. I just don't know if I would have reacted that same way. And I'm guessing my answer would be no. I would probably be more inclined to find out what took place. But again, sometimes you go to these concerts and you're spending a lot of money to get there. If you're not from the town or the city that the concert is being held, you may be, paying for car fees, rental fees, airline tickets, hotels, you could name it. So I understand from that perspective being upset. Again, like I said, I don't know the name calling. I don't know what that's going to do, but I'd be more concerned about getting my money back. And then what are we going to do about the other things? Now sometimes, I'm pretty sure you've got things on the tickets that kind of tell you things that they will cover, not cover. There's also ticket insurance. It's unfortunate you have to get that, but things do happen. And if you are at all aware of an artist you're going to go see, not always being when it's tardy or on time, allegedly, then maybe you might want to look at, is it something I want to go without, getting that travel insurance? That's totally up to you, right? That's totally up to you. But I was kind of, I guess not surprised, but I don't think I remember seeing that before, but maybe I haven't. I just never clicked on it. But I went to a recent concert, and we had a good time. We had a ball. That was the Spin the Block concert with Nelly Deshanti. So we had an absolute ball. And we don't live where that concert was. So we were one of those people who expended travel and hotel and all that stuff, and of course, course, I wanted to make it into an event, so to go there. But that was really the reason going to where we went to in what was it, Tennessee, to go and see her. So because we don't live in Tennessee, but we had a great time. We had a ball. There was a lot of entertainment prior to them coming on. And, we're just so excited for them to be there. And it was just a good show and a really good turnout. And the people around me were enjoying themselves. So saying all of that, I get it when all the preparation that takes to get yourself to a concert, to get yourself to any kind of event, and you want to be properly compensated. So, and maybe just, obviously saying, oh, I just didn't feel like going out there. I don't know what the reason was, right? I just know that allegedly the concert didn't take place because allegedly she wasn't able to come out. But yeah, I don't know. But let me know your thoughts, and if you were affected by that, feel free if you want to share, you were, but I hope that, Miss Baker was okay, because I haven't heard anything since. So hopefully it wasn't a health crisis or a situation, and hopefully she's just okay. And hopefully she's done some way of being able to reimburse you guys, or that did go to the concert, or at least give you some alternative dates if you can go and get that, and get comped or something. I don't know, because it does kind of suck. I don't know. For me, again, I just say I kind of stop at the name calling, because I didn't think that was necessary. But back to Madonna, the second case that seems to be out there. Look, I've heard, Madonna's concerts, there's a lot going on. And allegedly there's a lot going on. I have myself not been to one of her concerts, but I would imagine, being what I have seen of Madonna to be, it's going to probably be quite an adult, show. I wouldn't take my kids to go see a Madonna show. That's just me. Now all of what they're saying that they saw, it's, again, alleged, because we weren't there, and, but at least I wasn't there, so I can't speak on anything on that. But my thoughts are, wow. So I would imagine if that particular case or lawsuit is going to continue to go through, we'll probably hear something later on. I'll definitely be on the lookout and kind of a little bit, on the radar for it. And if it is, I'll bring it back and give you an update. So yeah, that's Madonna doing her thing. So, but if you have gotten a chance to go see Madonna in concert, or plan on going to this particular concert series, let me know. Drop it in the comment section. I'd love to know. All right, so that takes care of the Madonna story. Let's see what we got next up. Oh, we're talking about Khloe Kardashian. Now, we all know Khloe, don't we? Quite the household name, her and her family. They've got multiple shows. There really isn't much more introduction of Khloe that we need. So we're just going to get right on into the story, because I was quite fascinated about the story, because I thought this was over. So let's just go ahead and get on into it. Now, according to People, it says Khloe Kardashian says ex-Lamar Odom hounding for her number was the best thing he did. It was a turn on. Now, let me tell you, I was kind of surprised to see an article of present time with Khloe and Lamar. Okay, I thought that was done and over with. I was, quite frankly, I was thinking of Tristan at the time, and then I had to reread the article. I was like, no, it's not Tristan, it's Lamar, because I just thought that was so in the past, right? We all know famously that Khloe was married to Lamar for a few years. I'm not really sure how many. They got married after meeting each other, I think it was, and they got married like 4 months later. They seemed like they were really in love. They did have a show, Khloe and Lamar, and they did seem to, really have a good go at it in the very beginning, and things went right off the rails, as sometimes unfortunate relationships can do. One thing that Khloe appeared to be is very devoted to Lamar, even after their troubled times and what led them into their divorce, which I believe infidelity was probably part of that, if I remember correctly, because it's been a little bit of time now. And she most certainly has dealt with it with the guy that she was with prior. To now, I guess. But so, she continued to be devoted with him when he fell into a health crisis. And, when somebody kind of shows up for you even when things are not in a position where you are together, but they still show up to you as a human being thing. I think that puts a lot of good karma in your direction. That's just me. I feel if it's done for the right reasons and it's because you're just doing it because you care for someone and, another human being, I think that's an A+ situation. So, I don't know all the particulars. Obviously, people may have their different opinions. Some may feel otherwise. Some may feel, yes, she was definitely, just, what is it, like nightingale type thing there for him. And the bottom line is it helped him and he appreciated it. And I think he was also very remorseful and regretful of the fact that their marriage did not continue. And he was fully participative in why that did not happen. I always personally thought that Khloe and Lamar would get back together. I don't know why, call me, call me actually in shocked that they didn't. I just kind of felt that somehow they would bring themselves together because Lamar seems to be a real, lovable, nice guy, but he did mess up a lot. And at the end of the day, people only have but so much of a threshold. Right. But I always kind of felt because she did go back to help him out through his medical crisis, if you will. I really thought that that may be something that might come back. Now, personally, would it have been the right thing to do? I mean, I don't know. Only those two would know, but I wouldn't have been surprised. So, but yeah, what I was shocked though, is this article sharing that she was still referencing him in any kind of way. So what is that about? I think some of us still think that she may go back to Tristan and that's a whole nother, situation. But for the most part, the fact that Lamar and her are brought up in the same article in current times, why don't we go ahead and get into it? Because I sure was interested. So it further goes on to say that she felt that, well, it was sexy. You want a little aggressiveness, Khloe said of her ex-husband as she recalled his persistence in getting her number from their mutual business manager before they started dating. So she's reminiscing a little bit. Look, sometimes reminiscing can be a little bit dangerous, but, it's her story. It's her story to tell. A lot of us are fully familiar with her and her situation. But yeah, got to be careful with that reminiscing. Not too many people have been successful at spinning the block. And unfortunately for Khloe, she has not been so successful in doing that herself in her current situation. Not everybody can be like Nelly and Ashanti, I guess. But let's continue. Khloe said of her ex-husband as she recalled his persistence in getting her number from their mutual business manager before they started dating. Khloe Kardashian is looking back on her early beginnings with ex-husband Lamar Odom. During the June 20th episode of The Kardashians, Khloe reminisced on Lamar's persistence early in their relationship while chatting with best friend Malika Hawk, I believe, about her current dating woes. He never stopped texting me last night. I just didn't respond, Malika 41 revealed to Khloe about a new man she was talking to. In response, Khloe 39 told her best friend, I love a person who knows what they want. And I have to agree with her. I'm the same way. I prefer you to be upfront, no games. If I want this is what I need for a relationship to work for me. And if you're not about it, then, you really want to go find somebody else. There's no need in wasting each other's time if you cannot be and give what that other person needs. So I'm all for that. And I do like a little bit of a situation, actually a lot of a situation, when I know exactly what's going on. The best thing Lamar did, well, not the best thing. He did a lot of good things. Now, that's very promising. But when I wouldn't give him my number, but then he found out that we had the same business manager, she recalled. And then he was hounding Lester for my info. It was a turn on. It was sexy. You want a little aggressiveness, she said. And then she then added, I also don't think it's good when we're both comfortable being single without wanting to date, before vowing to eventually get back out on the dating scene, but not without some parameters. It's a scary world out there. There's phones everywhere, Khloe said. I definitely think what I have been through is a factor where I'm not just like, let's just start dating again. I don't want to F up my kids, she continues. So much has already transpired that could potentially F them up that I don't want to add to that by bringing somebody new to mix, because so far people have been very disappointing. I'm just not going to open myself up the same way that I once did, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I also think that's what growing up is. You learn to protect yourself. Khloe married Lamar on September 27, 2009, 1 month to the day after they met. Excuse me, I said 4 months, right? I think I meant to say 4 weeks. So here we go. 1 month, 4 weeks after they met. But in 2013, the marriage began to fall apart following the NBA players' cheating scandal and drug relapse. By December, Khloe had filed for divorce. In July of 2015, both stars finally signed divorce papers. That October, Lamar was rushed to the hospital after his years-long battle with addiction came to a head when he was found unconscious in a Nevada brothel. He remained in the hospital, mostly comatose, for months. And that was big news, big story. I'm sure many of y'all probably recall that. But it was really a big deal to hear about that, to see about that. I know it was touch and go. He also has, children who are probably both adults at this point. But, it was a really touch and go situation. And it was a lot of conversation about that, there's a clear possibility he may not make it through that situation. So, yeah, it was quite publicized at the time. Despite their ongoing divorce at the time, Khloe rushed to the hospital and remained by Lamar's side. The Good American founder, who was making all of Lamar's medical decisions, ultimately opted to call off their protracted divorce proceedings. However, once Lamar had been discharged from the hospital and was on the road to recovery, the two formalized their split in December of 2016. And I mean, honestly, how really gracious is that of Khloe to do, because it was a lot to go through. I'm sure the divorce and all the preliminaries and legalities of a divorce, let alone whatever emotions you may feel, because I really do feel that these two, had love for each other. And I do feel that for Khloe, that she thought this was going to be her forever person. She talked about having kids with him. I think he talked about having kids with her. So this was something that she probably did not really see coming to an end. At least that's what it appeared to have been. But, it was unfortunate, but I do think that it is admirable for anyone to be in that kind of a midst of a situation. And then something happened with the spouse who is still your spouse legally, at least. And you decide to kind of be there to help things along, especially when it comes to making medical decisions, because, you are consider them next of kin. And that can throw a lot of things into chaos if a divorce goes through at the same time. And then who was going to call, the shots, who's going to actually be able to make these decisions for Lamar. And at the time, Khloe was married to him. So being his wife and being one that was an actual active wife, she felt she was the best one to make those decisions. And from what I recall at the time, it seemed to go through very well. And Lamar was extremely grateful for her ability to step in and do what she had to do, because, he really was comatose for quite some time. So, yeah. It was good on her. Khloe later went on to date NBA player Tristan Thompson. The two were on and off for years, weathering several cheating scandals, which we all famously know of as well, before calling it quits for good in 2021. They remain on friendly terms today as they co-parent their two children, daughter True 6 and son Tatum 22 months. And at the end of the day, all of that is all that matters, is the children, right? They need to be able to live in an existence that doesn't have their parents or their parents, really, because they weren't together anymore, going back and forth at it with each other. They deserve to have them co-parent them in a way that is best for the children, because it's not their fault they're not together. It's not their fault their father did the things that they did. So it is what it is. So that's always good to go. But it always seems to be where, Khloe seems to kind of stay in good terms with her exes. So, this is an opportunity where that's helpful. It was helpful for Lamar as well. Moving on, the reality star has since been adamant that she is content being single and has no desire to enter into a new relationship. Sometimes when you do spin the block, you do, and it doesn't work out, you do need to take a step back. You do need to be able to reevaluate what is important to you. What are your needs? What is going to make you happy? And what, especially when you have children, how is that going to affect their lives? Because all of the emotions you go through, no matter what age they are, they're going to experience it in their way as well. right? So if you're not going to protect yourself, you got to protect the kids. So I think sometimes sitting back a little bit, taking a few steps back is a good thing. Focusing on other things that bring you joy and that really do acquire your attention, and just really work to fulfill yourself in a way that makes it where you're ready to be into a new relationship, right? I mean, I had this one friend of mine too. Me and her had a conversation once, and she was the type that she would need to jump from person to person. That was never my thing. I was always the one like, no, if I'm with someone and it's been a relationship, when we end, I need some time. I don't want to have the ember still of that other person on me when I go into another relationship. And for her, she was like, hey, look, the best way to get over someone is get under somebody new. That was really her situation. I do think that I'm pretty close to that. That's exactly what she said. And, what works for you doesn't always work for everybody, right? For me, I felt I do better when I get kind of fortify myself and, get myself in a situation where I am okay within myself. So I'm not bringing the baggage. And for her, I think she felt sitting too idle, made her think about it too much. So, you just never know. Whatever works for you works for you. But she was quite adamant about that. Yeah, no, she was not letting no grass grow under her feet. Absolutely not. But I'm very content and I'm happy, she shares. She explained in a previous episode, I feel like I'm effing thriving in my own little circle and world. But just even to think about someone being in my space where I have to share my TV or my bed, I'm like, no means no. And that's all you got to know. I'm just finding my rhythm in life again, I guess. And of course, as for those who may not already know, and if you are interested, new episodes of The Kardashians drop Thursdays at 12 a.m. Eastern on the Hulu network, which is the streaming platform now. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have thoughts on it? I mean, have you thought about spinning the block yourself? Do you sometimes, think, if you want to talk about it, have you ever been in a situation where you kind of were just thinking about somebody and thinking, what if I were to go back around that again, and then maybe decided maybe not the best idea. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? But yeah, I think the most important thing is to be really in a good space and a good, happy space for yourself. And if you have kids, for them as well, because again, they feed off of whatever you provide for them. And you'd be surprised, no matter how old they are, they feel the effects of whatever you do, good or bad, and whatever you go through, good or bad. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts on the story. Were you surprised that Khloe was bringing up Lamar? Because, in past interviews, Lamar was always the one that would bring up Khloe. That was never a surprise to me, but I've never heard Khloe per se volunteer information or thought about Lamar. It kind of would always, from what I saw anyways, would come from a place of responding maybe to something that he may have said in a previous interview with someone, and they decided they wanted to ask her opinion, and she'd always have a very pleasant response, but it never went beyond that. But for her to actually have a conversation about thinking about him, I don't know if Lamar is available or not, but he did seem to be cool with getting back with her at one point in time. I don't know if that's still the same. And if he is in a relationship and he's happy and he's committed, then, good for him too. Some relationships need a second time. Sometimes they don't, only two people involved will know. And they're both very, very grown people. So at the end of the day, if they choose to go back down that road again and it doesn't work out, I'm sure they're going to be fine. But the most important thing is the kids. So yeah, and they're the ones that got to make the decision for that. So definitely let me know your thoughts about that story. And we're going to move on to the next one. So who are we talking about next? Let's see. Yes. Our dear friend, Love and Hip Hop star Atlanta. Yes. I like Young Jock. Young Jock, I think he's cool. I mean, honestly, he does. He's cool to me. I enjoy him. I think he's quite funny. I don't like some of the stuff he does, but I do think that he can be quite entertaining, and he's most certainly entertaining on Love and Hip Hop. Now, I watched Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. I've watched the New York, which was actually my favorite. It was the first one, obviously, New York being the birthplace of hip hop. It would be no other way. But eventually, they, I guess they ran a course and decided they didn't want to come back. And then Atlanta, and then there's Hollywood, and there's Miami. I enjoy Miami thoroughly. I liked Hollywood. I don't know. There was some, hit and miss seasons, but overall, I think they got into a vibe, and I enjoyed it. So I'm not really quite sure what happened to collapse that show. If you know, drop it down in the comment section, and if you watched any of the Love and Hip Hops, drop that down in the comment section too. And then let me know which one is your favorite if you have one. Like I said, I enjoyed all of them for the most part. But Atlanta, is running strong, and Miami's running strong. So I watch both of those. I'm stay tuned for that, and I just really enjoy watching them. And Jock, Jock. He's always getting himself into something. And I will have to say, I wish he would stop getting himself into something, because I like Kendra. I like his wife. I like his wife for him. I think, she's a no nonsense. She's beautiful, smart, intelligent, and she's real easy to get along with. Just don't mess with her in the wrong way, and you'll be okay. And I can relate to that. I don't want to hear no more about Jock, messing up in a way that even implies infidelity. I mean, look, you can't keep thinking that the next great person is just around the corner. Okay, the grass ain't always green on the other side. And when you get to a certain stage in your life, you're supposed to know this already. And Kendra has been there for him, according obviously what we've seen on the show. Been through with him for challenging times, and and I just really thought, this is gonna work, right? They're going to work. I mean, quite frankly, when I first saw the coupling in the beginning, when they first started out, I was like, this is interesting. But, Jock is a nice guy. He doesn't come across like, someone who could not be with anyone he really wanted to be. He seems fun and a good conversationalist. And I like Kendra. I think I like her. And I liked them together, and I was kind of shocked. I thought him and Carly had a funny relationship years ago, and they were quite entertaining, but that wasn't going anywhere, right? But we got a lot of great laughs in that season or 2 or 3. But anyways, back to the current situation at hand. So I don't. Jock must have put his mouth in it, his foot in it, or something in it again. And I just like, Jock, oh my gosh! After this last season of Atlanta, I thought we had put away foolish things and we were moving forward, because Kendra has forgiven a lot. Now, some may say, look, Kendra knows the kind of person he is, or knows what he's up to, and she chooses to be with him. That may be so, but that again is her choice to do that, right? But it doesn't mean just because she does choose to put up with certain things doesn't mean that she deserves to have to put up with certain things, right? Now, could I go through that? No. Could some of us go through that? Maybe not. But she loves him. We don't know all the behind the scenes of their relationship. We don't need to know. All we can go off is what's on this show, right? And then I guess whenever he does a podcast or two somewhere else. And that brings us to this story that you may have heard about. And if you did, if you're familiar, go ahead and drop it down below. But I was just like, oh my God, not again. I thought he was pushing it last season. I thought, oh Lord, she's gonna leave this man. She's gonna lead this man, and she's a good one. I don't think he wants her to lead him, but here we go. So I guess maybe this is going to be a storyline for the next season. You let me know your thoughts. You think that's what this is set up for? I don't know. It just seems to me like I really would like to hear of Jock. One thing about Jock is that we know other things about him, right? He's a multifaceted individual, like most of us are. He has other things going on in his life and his career other than, infidelity or relationships that he gets into that he shouldn't be into, allegedly or truthful or whatever the case may be. So, I enjoy when he, came out with this. I think he had a salon, and I think he still may have the salon. I think I don't know if he had a restaurant or a club or something. He may still have that. I'm not sure, but he has other ventures, and he does podcasting too. So I enjoy, and raps. Okay, so I enjoy all of the business aspects of him, and I just think him and Kendra make a really great power couple. This is my thing, my thoughts, and so I need him to stop messing up. Okay, whatever it is. If he says I didn't do anything, just stop showing things that show you doing things. Yeah, I digress. Okay, so I want him to work this out. I really do. And she deserves to have a good man. He deserves to have a good woman. We deserve to have good people. He's got a lot of kids. She is an influence on his life. And I think that if he's going to take the time to be married to somebody, you would want that somebody to be able to acclimate to all of what was before you set on the scene. And she seems to do that more so than a lot of us would do, because some of that stuff is crap. But anyways, she's been there for the kids, and she's been there and shows up for him all the time. And so I need him to get it together. Jeez, please, I need him to get it together. I need all the love that's supposed to be out there in the universe to be out there in the universe. Enough of all this other foolishness. But let's get into the story. Shall we? Because I'm going to tell the whole story without getting into it. So here we go. The lovely couple. And Lord, I hope he's not going to be divorced by the time the season starts. Jeez Louise. And I mean, Scrappy and Bambi's divorce was one thing, and that was enough. I don't want to go through another season of somebody else's divorce. I just don't want to. Okay, so this is according to News Real and Atlantic Black Star. I think it's News Real. It'll be down in the bottom if I got that wrong, because there's an extra letter in there that I don't know why that's there. But let's go. I'm divorcing Jaceel. I even like his name. I think that's a really cool name, Jaceel. Anyways, young jock drops bombshell about marriage to wife Kendra Robinson after being accused of being cuddled up with another woman in a viral video. Lord have mercy. Rapper and reality star Jaceel Young Jock Robinson is filming the upcoming season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And like always, the media has jumped into his storyline by posting headlines suggesting he might be cheating on his wife once again. It's like a fruit that they just keep coming back to. Known for his 2006 hit, It's Going Down, in the club, it's going down. Yeah, that was a cool song. Anyways, Jock has been married for 2.5 years to Atlanta attorney Kendra Robinson. The pair tied the knot on the show in November of 2021, but their marriage has been plagued by rumors ever since, often portraying Jock as unfaithful. Despite some hiccups, both he and Kendra have told the world that they are a solid unit. Recent developments might change that. A viral video has caused suspicions to flare up again, forcing the Atlanta MC to address the issue directly and fight for his marriage. The latest controversy was ignited by the celebrity gossip site Gossip in the City, which posted a video showing Jock talking to an unidentified woman in a white dress. The short clip depicts him standing close to her and seemingly touching her, which quickly went viral. Some social media users online expressed the same sentiment, writing, "It looked like she was cussing him out," or that the two were having an argument, one person said. "I know I'm blind, but it just looks like they're talking. Look how his hands are positioned." And by the way, if you've seen those little video clips or whatnot, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what you think was going on, what you saw. Do you agree with what some of these commenters said? Another said, "Old girl is standing way too close to be explaining something. He should have asked her to step back 2 paces since she didn't have common sense enough to do it herself." Okay. Some even believe the women look like Kendra from behind, but Jock confirmed it wasn't her when the issue was brought up on his syndicated radio show, Young Jock and the Streets Morning Takeover show. On the June 20th episode, he explained that he learned about the viral spread from his co-host, Ms. Shanika, who told him his name was all over the internet on Wednesday night. Jock admitted he hadn't seen the video initially and had to check the site to understand the accusations. He vehemently denied claims that he was holding hands and cuddling with the woman. He was so unnerved by the video, he said, "I couldn't even sleep last night." The post arrived days after Kendra shared a touching Father's Day tribute to her husband, writing, "Happy Father's Day, baby. At Jock Live, we love and appreciate you for all you do for our family." As he and his colleague aimed to dismiss the post, Shaniqua pointed out that the site misspelled Jock's name in the original post and that the others believe the clip does look suspicious. He doesn't seem to be all over the woman in a romantic way. The former Bad Boy South recording artist expressed frustration about the rumor, stating, "I'm dealing with this at home in real life right now." And I believe that's kind of how it was the last season with the last situation. "I woke my wife up and said, 'Hey, let me talk to you before you wake up in the morning and see any of this,'" Jock shared his listeners. I would get so sick and tired of that. I mean, you tell me your thoughts. But boy, my God, who wants to keep hearing at any time, "We need to talk," or "I got something to share," "I got something to tell you"? Like, I'd be like, what now? When Shanika said that was player, he interjected and said, "No, that was real. That was the thing you're supposed to do. In other words, you're supposed to let her know that something is about to come down so she doesn't see it on her own. Still, despite being upset about the clip, Jock defended himself by stressing that the video that caused such an uproar was misleading, saying it may have looked like our hands touched. He maintains that if people are looking with an unbiased lens, they will see that the footage shows nothing incriminating. If you look at this video, am I cuddled up? That's not cuddled up, the reality star said. Jock mentioned, that he has or was actually confronting the woman and trying to smooth things out following an incident involving her, another person, and Tamar Braxton. The father of 9 pointed out that the people who are just tuning in and commenting for entertainment don't realize that this could easily escalate to the point where his wife considers divorce. The video also arrives less than a month from when the bonus mom took us to social media to celebrate Jock's second daughter's 21st birthday. This comes years after Kendra appeared to shame him for having 9 children by 5 different women. If Kendra didn't get some thicker skin, okay, here we go. If Kendra don't get some thicker skin, a comment read, adding, "You stayed with the man, be happy and keep it pushing." She always screaming and crying, fussing about something. See, there's always two sides to the coin of people's thoughts, right? At one point during the interview, Shaniqua noted that Jock had ignored Kendra's call while on air, but if she received a call, she would answer. Let's add fuel to that fire. Jock then reveals he got a text from his wife who saw the video and sent him a text blasting him to her mother and promising that this time will be different. I know why he probably didn't pick up that phone, because he didn't want to see those words. I want out. I'm divorcing Giselle, Mom. See that? There you go. A blog has accused him of cheating on me, so I'm done, texted Kendra, according to Jock. That's what I'm dealing with in real life. Jock reiterated that the video does not show him behaving inappropriately. He called for fairness in reporting and suggested that if anyone carefully examined the footage, they would see he did nothing wrong. When filming Love in Hip Hop Atlanta, the 43-year-old noted cameras are also everywhere, catching more than what is seen in the video. He was then asked if he suspected that someone from the show might have leaked the misleading video, but he was not certain. He spoke carefully about blaming people, which is a safe thing to do, that he has worked with since 2014, saying, "I don't know if somebody was just being messy, trying to do that, but it's an issue because it's like you can't do nothing." While he would not comment, fans were quick to finger the producers for causing the mayhem within his household. One said, "Those reality show producers are messy and will break up a happy home for ratings. I've said that many times. I bet it was one of those young and dumb producers who filmed this and then posted it. I hope at Jock Live finds out who posted it and whoop, their peach emoji. You can understand what they meant." Regardless, the self-proclaimed former womanizer felt the need to address the situation publicly due to the potential damage to his personal life. Well, it's out publicly, and it'll probably more publicly in the show, so it makes sense. Infidelity is also a subject he broached in his April interview on the Culture Club Uncensored with host Osai The Dark Secret. Osei in The Dark Secret. Hope I said that right. In his interview, he detailed how challenging it is for male celebrities, and the attention that they get can often lead to trouble. Is it that they can lead to trouble, or is that you put yourself in positions that lead to trouble? I mean, at some point, you got to be responsible for what you do, right? It's your actions. You're doing it. Oh my goodness. Y'all, what do you think about this? Do you think that this is just a storyline situation, or do you really think that this is something, to do about something? Or is it something to do about nothing? I haven't seen too much of the footage. I might have seen like a kind of a blurry clip of it myself. If you have seen it, tell me what your thoughts are and leave it down below. I'd love to know. If you think it's just for storyline, let me know that as well. Do I think that this is real time going on for Jock? Probably so, because if one thing, Jock seems to be pretty real on whatever he's dealing with at the time, and it always seems to make air. It's been like that for quite some time. So I don't see him doing something just for story's sake. If it's an issue that he's dealing with. Now, is it being posted, being put out there for story's sake? Maybe. Who knows? Alleged, right? He doesn't know where this could have came from, who could have leaked it. And I think it's safe and smart to not accuse anyone without knowing for sure. Maybe he will be able to get to the bottom of it at some point. I'm sure he would like to get into investigating to find out where it did come from. But at the same time, now he's got to deal with the real life consequence of it coming through. And the bottom line is, when you do certain things in your past and you're known for that, sometimes you're always going to be held to that standard. You're not going to always get the ability to be able to just say, hey, look, I did it once and you should be okay with that and not bring it up again. That's just not how it works. And I think, Jasil, or Young Jock, is, mature enough in his life to understand that. The bottom line is, just because you do something doesn't mean that you can get a pass for it later. And you're always going to be, in my feeling anyways, you're always going to be a little bit suspect. I'm always going to wonder in the back of my mind. Now, one would say if you're wondering or you're worried about something, then you should be with that person. And that's easier said than done, right? Because maybe you do want to move forward with the individual, but you're not going to be blind to the fact that if something comes to your attention, that you may have to address it. I just think that it'd be naive to feel like that you accepting or forgiving a situation and moving forward means that you're not going to have some sense of moving differently in the future. Quite frankly, I personally would recommend it. Okay, if someone has shown you infidelity, if someone's shown you something that they can do that's hurtful for you, and that's a no-go for you, and you choose to move forward, that's always going to be a stain there. And it's that person's job to never do it again, right? It's that person's job to make you secure in that relationship by the only actions that they can do. Now, if you are in a position where you cannot forgive it and move forward, then I would agree you should not be in that relationship, because you are making a decision either way. If you choose to stay, you're making a decision that you are going to find a way to healthily, hopefully, and effectively, hopefully, move past it, right? But if it's something that is always going to be a top of mind and you're not able to get past it, or you're arguing about it all the time, it's brought up all the time. I'm not saying that it can't be brought up sometime, because look, we get PTSD sometimes, okay? If you've done something to somebody and it's hurt them deeply and they've expressed it and they moved on, that doesn't mean that it won't pop up in their mind later on. Okay. And so it's not for that person, in my opinion, to kind of take the attitude of, well, if you don't like it and you can't, be okay with it, move on, then that's on you. No, it's on you. At the end of the day, if you didn't want this person to have something to give to you, to tell you, hey, this is what you did wrong, and I don't like this, then don't do it. As simple as that. People have a right to share and express and move how they need to move that's safe and effective for them, not for you. So I really hope that this is really a lot to do about nothing. I hate that they're going through this again, because I think I saw some pics on Instagram, just kind of hitting on my feed, where they look like they were going and having outings, and they look really happy. They look good together, and like things were on the upswing. So to hear about this, and I don't know exactly where this plays in on the timeline from those pictures that I saw and what's going on and being shared now. But I'm just like, here we go again. Like, I really want something else different. I don't think you're going to get a storyline about kids between them two, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Kendra had shared that she wasn't interested in having children. And the fact is, Doc has so many kids that, if she's okay with that, it's not like she has to feel the pressure of having one for him or with him, because he's got 9 others. So, he's quite busy. And so is she, for that matter. But I just hope that they do find a way to get some resolve, and, they quickly get away from this narrative. But at the end of the day, is he going to be planted with the scarlet letter for this for the rest of his life? Being unfaithful, with the possibility of being unfaithful? Possibly. What do you want? If you don't want that letter, then you shouldn't act in that manner. That's just as simple as that. That's just my thoughts anyways. But yeah, and look, and to me, Kendra doesn't seem the type that she's constantly reminding him all the time, to where it's a point where, how it's just happening just because you're just upset all the time. It seems to be very effective to whatever's going on. So it is what it is. Everybody's got to take responsibility and accountability, right? And again, just because you choose to forgive somebody does not mean that you can't not have a problem if they do something like that again, or if something comes up that you have to address in, about that situation, in the future. So, I don't think that just because you do deal with something, and I think, I don't know, that gets into a lot of victim blaming and victim shaming. Sometimes that's a really slippery slope to go down. The bottom line is the act of the individual who causes the situation is where the blame should lie, not on the person who chooses to stick with that person. Because again, you can make a choice either way. You can choose to leave or you can choose to stay. But just because you choose to stay does not mean that you should continue to have to deal with those types of things. And doesn't mean that you should stay silent about it. Just because you may forgive one doesn't mean you're going to forgive all of them. Just because you forgive five doesn't mean you're going to forget number six. It has to be up to you and what works for you. But never should anything silence your voice in speaking your concerns about something that is a problem. And if you choose later on down the line, I mean, they're married, they're not just boyfriend, girlfriend, they're matrimony together. They have life together. Kendra didn't ask for any of this nonsense. She's not the one doing it. I haven't heard anything coming out about any tapes about her. So, she's just trying to be, what she's trying to be. And I think that it's unfair to feel like, she should just suck it up. I don't think that's fair to say. I really don't. And if she chooses to continue to deal with them, that's her choice too. I mean, it's not bothering us any, right? We're just talking about it and commenting on it. But at the end of the day, I would just be really interested to see how this shapes up. I really do not want to see another divorce of love and hip hop. I swear to you, the last one was enough, honestly. Regardless of whether I feel that they should have been together in the first place. Now I'm talking about Scrappy and Bambi, and I really don't want to get too much into that because that's not what the story's about. But I will say this, even whether or not they should have been together or not, whatever the case may be, it still was difficult to see a family with children break up. Now, I do not believe in staying in a marriage that you're not happy and fulfilled in. So if that's what's best for you in your family situation, then that's what's best for you in your family situation. But it was, a bit painful. And there was a lot of hard conversations that were put out on display, which, the average person has to deal with that, right? So, but I think it really did make a lot of people probably think about their own relationships, and how they wanted to deal with things in their own situation. And often dealing and seeing things in that way does that. So yeah, that was just really an unfortunate situation to see. If you are familiar with that story, you've heard about that, let me know down below. I would want to know what your thoughts are and, just how you feel. Because, I mean, yeah, here we go again. But I'm going to be there. I'm with bells on. I'm watching that season because it's going to be a good season. Nevertheless, they don't disappoint. Not for me anyways. I mean, I like it when they're not so much on the fighting side all the time. There has been some funny fight. I don't condone fighting, but there has been some funny seasons in the past that included that. But nevertheless, they did have a good season, I think, last year, yes, and the year before. They've been pretty consistent, I would say. And so hopefully, we'll get to see it all play out, and hopefully we'll come to some amicable resolution that doesn't require a divorce at the end. And hopefully they can move forward and maybe, in storylines to come in the future, seasons to come, they'll have some other narrative that it can be pushed instead of somebody being unfaithful. Because I'm sure between the two of them, there's a lot going on in life that they could share that would be real promising and inspiring. All right. So I think that about wraps it up for this weekly roundup celebrity edition. I hope you enjoyed. And if you are subscribed already and you're part of the family, thank you for your listening support. I so appreciate it. And if you are new here, I'm glad that you stuck around. And I hope that you will also consider subscribing and then just subscribe and be part of the family. We'd so love to have you. I would love to know your thoughts. So please leave those down below in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. And yeah, I think that wraps it up for this video. I do have one more video that's going to be coming out later on this evening. Do make sure you have your notification bell on so you can check that one out. It is quite a doozy. It's one of those doozy type of stories, and it does fit in the Law and Order-esque type of situation. And I was like, whoa, we hear so many of these types of stories, and it's so unfortunate. So yeah, I really hope you will come back and take a listen or view or watch whatever to that video as well, because I would love to know your thoughts. But it's quite a doozy one, to say the least. But until then, be safe, take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.